Ms. Scott.
Good afternoon. My name is Courtney Scott, and I am president of Free the Oregon Zoo Elephants. We want to welcome new President Lynn Peterson and new Counselor Juan Carlos Gonzalez. We look forward to the opportunity to work with you to create a better future for the Oregon Zoo's elephants. We would love to see the Oregon Zoo follow the lead of many zoos who have shut down their elephant exhibits and retired their elephants to sanctuary. In the meantime, we urge you to agree to achieve 3 goals that would dramatically improve the lives of the elephants. 1, end breeding. Number 2, ban all use of bullhooks. And 3, halt any plans to import more elephants into the zoo. Lynn, in response to your email to supporters assuring us that the elephants at the Oregon Zoo receive excellent care and their welfare is a top priority, we understand that the staff are doing the best they can under the circumstances. But despite that, there have been 4 elephant deaths in the last 4 years, proving that ultimately the elephants are not thriving in captivity. Of the 28 elephants born at the zoo, 21 are now dead. The average age of death was 24, far younger than expected in the wild. And despite the best intentions of the zoo staff, the elephants continue to suffer from extreme stereotypic behavior and a host of zoonotic diseases and conditions. All of this suffering in captivity does nothing to save wild elephants. In fact, elephant populations in Asia and Africa continue to be decimated. No elephant born from the zoo will ever be returned to the wild. And elephant births in zoos are not keeping up with elephant deaths. We urge you to follow the lead of the Barcelona City Council, which has recently mandated that the Barcelona Zoo end all breeding unless the animal can be returned to the wild. This zoo has already ended breeding of elephants. We urge the Oregon Zoo to focus on local conservation efforts, as they have successfully done with condors and butterflies. We encourage you to help the zoo develop an alternative way of viewing elephants, as the North Carolina Zoo did with its virtual tour of Africa. If the Oregon Zoo adopts these new directions, it will earn a much-deserved reputation for creativity, ingenuity, and enhancement of animal welfare. And no real elephant will suffer and die in captivity. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Nancy Shaw. I live in Vancouver, Washington. I'm going to read this story about Prince. Asian Elephant Prince, his touching story. On any given day at FOZE, Art 2000 Sanctuary, you will see Asian Elephant Prince traversing his enclosure, engaged in selecting tasty morsels of grass or other foods, or maybe swimming and splashing in one of his 2 pools, a favorite pastime. Or you may see him peacefully napping on the hillside. Prince was born Chang Di at what now the Oregon Zoo in Portland on May 24, 1987. He just turned 32. His mother, Me Too, was also born at the zoo. She was euthanized at the young age of 34 due to foot disease. Captive conditions contribute to this painful condition. His father, Hugo, was taken from his wild family in Asia when he was just a calf and spent about 10 years in the circus before coming to Portland. Like Prince's mother, Hugo died prematurely at age 43. When Prince was just 16 months old, an age at which elephants are still nursing and totally dependent on their mothers, his life changed forever when he was transferred to a circus. Elephants in circuses spend most of their lives on leg chains, intensively confined, and are cruelly controlled with the bullhook. We don't know much about Prince's life during the next 20 years or so, but we do know what happened when he came to FOZE. When Prince first arrived at our Art 2000 sanctuary in July 2011, he repeatedly dusted himself and then took a long nap on a pile of soft soil in his barn. But there was much work to be done. An important part of PAW's work is rehabilitation of the animals in our care. And Prince was no exception. He was aggressive and afraid. So the first thing we had to do was earn his trust. Our staff worked patiently with Prince, using reward-based training and kind words. With time, he learned no one was going to hit, threaten, or punish him. No bull hooks or chains are ever used at PAWS. Our positive relationship with Prince allowed him to feel relaxed and secure. If you go on YouTube or to their site, they'll direct you to videos where he's playing in this huge pool, moving logs. You can tell that he's just having the best time. There are 3 sanctuaries in the United States, this PAWS in California, Elephant Refuge North America in Georgia, and the Elephant Sanctuary in Tennessee. Thank you.
Council President and members of the council, I too am responding to a letter sent to one of Free the Oregon Zoo Elephants supporters by President Lynn Peterson. The part of the letter I am responding to is when she wrote, "I'm not sure when you last visited, but I encourage you to personally experience Elephant Lands, the new home of our Asian elephants, and see for yourself why it is considered one of the best habitats in the country. Care staff on hand are there throughout the day to answer your questions." Yes, I've been to the exhibit. I go there frequently to document the elephant's behavior. A significant portion of the new 6-acre habitat is for visitors, leaving less than 4 acres accessible to the elephants. Why aren't you transparent with the public about how many elephants you plan on adding to this exhibit, taking up more space? You state that the elephants have free roam of elephant lands, but are often seen confined in one area. During an Oregon Zoo Symphony concert, Lily and Rose, too, were locked in the North Meadow, staring at the gate, wanting to go back to the barn. Over 30 minutes of standing by the gate, Lily walked away, she laid down and went to sleep, as I've shown in a photo that I brought today, which I'm not able to show you right now, but I'll email it to you after this meeting. I went to a security guard and asked him why they didn't have free roam. He told me they did have free roam. I walked him over to the area and I showed him the elephants were confined. The guard said, "You're right, the elephants are locked in," then did nothing but shrug his shoulders. In 2016, I started learning hands-on elephant foot care with captive elephants in Nepal under Carol Buckley Elephant Aid International. I now have over 50 hours of hands-on experience working on elephants' feet. I know how to use the rasp and the small knife, and I've been told I'm an expert at beveling out wounds on the bottom of an elephant's foot pad. I've just returned from my 4th trip to Nepal, this time spending 6 weeks with the captive elephants there. These elephants are severely malnourished. Their diet consists of scrub rice, rolled in cut-up grass that is often molded or dried out without any green. These elephants are giving rides to tourists with saddles weighing up to 200 pounds, plus all the weight of the humans packed in like sardines like a can. These elephants are giving up to 5 rides a day, often walking long distances to and from their enclosures to the riding stations. I am an avid hiker in the Columbia River Gorge. This would be like humans hiking Dog Mountain 5 times a day, every day of their life. These elephants are often withheld water. These elephants are beaten most every day of their lives. I've seen these elephants beaten with axes. These are government elephants. Why am I bringing this up today? These Nepalese elephants live into their 70s. The average age of an Oregon Zoo elephant is 24 years old. Thank you.
It's my first time addressing the council, so I'm not sure about protocol, but my name is Diane Nowitz. I'm from Portland. Used to be a regular zoo goer until I learned about the atrocities that are going on at the Oregon Zoo, particularly those that deal with the Oregon Zoo elephants. I joined the FOZE group, learned a lot more, and I just briefly want to echo what my fellow FOZE members have told you already about use of bullhook, breeding program, the infant deaths, and this is 2019. And we're all reasonable, responsible human beings, and reasonable human beings do not do this to animals. In the first place, elephants are not meant to be in Portland, Oregon. These elephants are supposed to be in the tropics. They, when it's 60 degrees outside, it's cold for them. And I have also seen pictures of the elephants being trapped outside in the cold, freezing in the cold. I mean, the cold, not just 60 degrees, like when it's cold outside. These elephants are not meant to be here, and I encourage you to free these elephants to sanctuary where they belong, places where it's warm. Tennessee was given as an example, California. These elephants cannot go back to the wild. They've been trapped and trained, and they're human exhibits. And the only place for these elephants to be at this point is at sanctuary. Thank you.
Hello, my name's Colin Durfee. I don't think I'll take up the whole 3 minutes either, but I am here to echo the sentiment of the previous speakers in that I believe that these elephants should be relocated to sanctuaries. I don't believe in captive breeding of any animal. Having spent a lot of time working with nonprofits with animals that need to be rescued, I've just seen all the neurotic behaviors that animals develop well in captivity. And I've documented cruelty at this zoo. I've documented zoocosis behaviors from these elephants. As Diane said, of course, we can't release them back to the wild. But what we can do is stop breeding elephants in captivity, and we can give them the best life possible in terms of relocating them to sanctuaries. Moreover, we are a city that celebrates equality. I think that doesn't stop at animals, and it doesn't stop at elephants. We would never do this to a person. We would never make their lives for human enjoyment. Like they're constantly having children yelling at them, constantly under people's eyes, and I wouldn't want to live a life like that personally. I don't think anyone on this planet should be subjected to a life like that either. So if we truly believe in equality, then we should extend it to other species on this planet as well, and that includes the Oregon Zoo elephants. Thank you.
My name is Ty Young. Elephant numbers have dropped by 62% over the last decade, and they could be mostly extinct by the end of the next decade. An estimate of 100 African elephants are killed each day by poachers. There are currently only about 400,000 remaining, and as of 2018, there are around 40 to 50,000 elephants left in Asia. This is what I want to see happen. I want to find a way that we can get a large sanctuary so we can move them on there where they have large water holes, lots of trees, lots of rocks, and where they can feel safe and protected from ones that want to harm them. Do elephants have feelings? They do have feelings. They feel sadness. They feel grief. They feel happiness. They feel stress. Do you know that when a mate dies, the other one stands by their side and will not leave them? I am an advocate for animals, and I want to have an opportunity to go up to one of these large animals, wonderful animals, and give them a big hug. And let them feel what it's like to be loved and appreciated by humans. I'm asking everyone here today to reach out and help however you can to make life better for them. And with the Oregon Zoo, with the elephants there, I have not really heard any good thing about that. It's very heartbreaking. And I had to quit listening. It was getting too much. So I'm asking that they are released into a sanctuary where they can be with other elephants and enjoy life, what they have left. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ann Bradley. The Oregon Zoo animal care staff may be skilled and experienced, but positive reinforcement techniques cannot give a captive elephant dignity. Dame Daphne Sheldrick spoke of captivity in her letter to the Oregon Zoo, and that was in June of 2014 when Packy was still alive. It has been scientifically established that elephants are human in terms of emotion, something that I can wholeheartedly endorse through 50 years of practical experience. They have the same strong sense of family and of death. They have friendships that span a lifetime. Is it right to inflict this extremely severe punishment on an innocent animal that duplicates us humans in terms of emotion, longevity, and age progression, and moreover has a memory that far surpasses our own? Back to the subject of positive reinforcement techniques, I do not see how the bullhook can be a positive reinforcement tool. It is a large steel stick with a sharp hook at the end. It is designed specifically to inflict pain and fear. Bullhooks are viewed as effective in the zoo industry because they inflict pain. The bullhook can elicit a quick response in forcing an elephant to do tricks to avoid pain. It does not matter if the zoo chooses to use the word guide, the result is the same. This is just, it's kind of a small picture, but an example of, I believe it was Rose 2, doing tricks to avoid pain for entertainment, I guess. One thing we feel would be a step in the right direction would be for the Oregon Zoo to follow the example set by California in 2016 and discontinue the use of bullhooks. We ask you to consider issuing a public statement that you will discontinue the use of negative reinforcement techniques, which includes bullhooks, guides, sticks, or any kind of long, sharp object. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Kathy Davidson, and I'm a volunteer with FOZE as well and have been demonstrating out at the zoo. And recently I sought to borrow a drill from a neighbor, and he said, yes, of course, I would normally give this to you, but I had to work out at the ranch this weekend, and we were castrating the bulls. So as I sought to assimilate the two things, he went on to describe how they used the drill to do so. And wasn't it nifty that it produced so much less blood? And, you know, I said, well, is there any pain involved? And he said, of course. What do you think? Well, is any anesthetic involved? Well, no, we just pat him on the head. And he turned around and stalked away, feeling judged. So as I tried to reconcile this new man with the one I had lived next to for years and known to be such an avid animal lover at home, I came to realize that we all have very different definitions of things in life, and cruelty apparently is one of them. So it led me to understand that maybe there is an impediment here also when we come to speak to you, those who have the power to end what we perceive as cruelty. So I devised an exercise to see if maybe we can establish a baseline understanding and communicate a little better. So if you'll think back to your first memory in this life, the very first thing you can think of knowing, and then take yourself to your first day at school, up through the years to graduation, your first job, marriage, children, maybe grandchildren, but all of this breadth of experience that we call life, and it encompasses decades of time. So if you take that full scope of your experience now, and just imagine yourself having spent all of that time in this chamber, with nothing but the view that you have now, and no choice of anything other. And you're not left to your own devices, but are poked and prodded, tested, bred. If against your will, then you're restrained and impregnated against your will. I mean, when you substitute a human being for what the animals undergo, it sounds pretty horrific. I don't know anybody who could contemplate that alternate existence that I just described to the one that you've actually led and not find that completely untenable. So when we speak on behalf of animals, I believe that that is how we perceive it. So I would ask if you can understand now where we come from, if you would please help us in our endeavor by telling us what it will take to actually end the suffering and close the zoo.
Thank you.